We have a massive Allen Lazard injury update, and also the Jets have made a major roster move by signing Riley Patterson to the team to be the team's kicker against the Houston Texans and potentially beyond. And we're going to break this down. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here, and we're going to jump right into the video as always because, guys, one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite targets throughout the season and a man who's just had an absolute bounce back from last year, Allen Lazard, is headed to the injured reserve due to a chest injury. And on top of that, the Jets have replaced him, or well, replaced Greg Zuerlein's spot on the injury spot, really, on the injured reserve, really, with Riley Patterson. Now, as mentioned by Ian Rappaport, New York is placing receiver Allen Lazard on the injured reserve. According to NFL Media's Ian Rappaport, Lazard has been dealing with a chest injury. He did not practice all of last week before he was inactive for the loss to the Patriots. He was then listed as a non-participant on all three injury reports over the last 3 days. Lazard leads the team with 5 receiving touchdowns, which is shocking. He's second on the club with 412 receiving yards and third with 30 catches. With Greg Zuerlein also on the injury reserve, and NFL Media's Tom Placero reports that New York will elevate Riley Patterson to kick for Thursday's game. The Jets signed Patterson and Spencer Schrader to their practice squad this week, and Patterson has been the one to get the call. Now, Matt, I can tell you, most people out there probably don't know too much about Riley Patterson. He spent some time on the Commanders, and we will get into that. But what is your instant reaction to seeing that, well, frankly, Allen Lazard, someone who's very important to this team, is now headed to the injured reserve?
Well, I'm glad we still have Mike Williams. So we're not going to, from a skill standpoint, Mike Williams is just as good as Allen Lazard, but from a chemistry standpoint with Aaron Rodgers, Allen Lazard is obviously miles ahead. So we're going to lose some of that chemistry, but Mike Williams fortunately, we didn't trade him away. He's going to be able to step up and step into that Allen Lazard role tonight and going over for the next probably 1 week because he's going to get traded from this team. The Jets, so far the season's not looking super good. Tonight, you're going to try to make a change about that against the Houston Texans, against C.J. Stroud, coming into MetLife Stadium on Halloween. And if the Jets are in a close game at the end of it, they're not trotting out Greg Zuerlein anymore. They got Riley Patterson. I'm excited that Greg Zuerlein isn't kicking anymore, but Chris, the good kickers, they're on NFL rosters. If you're not on an NFL roster, there's probably a reason why you're not on an NFL roster. So Riley Patterson, we can't expect a ton out of him, but Greg Zuerlein was, not only was he not giving us a ton, he was hitting 60% of his field goals, which was almost impossibly low. I see a lot of people not giving him a pass for that 50-yard field goal in the rain against Denver, which I feel like we can because Denver missed the exact same kick on the other end. Raining, long kick, raining. But the other kicks, oh my goodness, just kick after kick after kick after kick. He missed them. Those kicks need to be made. Also, joining Allen Lazard on the injury reserve is defensive lineman Leki Fotu. That takes away some of our run defense, which has been already terrible this year. And to assist with the banged up secondary, we have elevated two defensive backs in the place of Allen Lazard and Leki Fotu to the active roster for the game tonight. We're gonna see a deeper secondary. Hopefully, the depth doesn't come into play. We don't have to see Kendall Sheffield on the field because I'm hoping the guys we put out there, the starters, aren't gonna get hurt this time. But unfortunately, that is not how the season has gone so far. But Chris, talk about the game tonight. We have said the way the Jets operate and whether the wins that are wins and the games that are losses, it never seems to make sense. And that's why, even though the Texans seem like the significantly better team than the Jets right now, I still think the Jets are going to find, just for no reason other than it doesn't make any sense, they're going to find a way to win this game tonight.
I'll tell you why they're going to win this game. They're favored for some reason. They're the favorites by 2.5 points.
But just like I just said, I agree with it. I think they're going to win the game.
So do I. But everyone's going to bet against it. The public is going to be all over the Houston Texans, and as they should be, in fairness. You look at everything screams the Texans are going to win this game. Imagine that everything just changes because the Jets no longer have Greg Zuerlein kicking for them. I mean, let's be real. They'd be 4-4 had a good kicker been on the team. Or had last year's Greg Zuerlein been this year's Greg Zuerlein, they'd be 4-4. They would have beaten the Broncos. They would have beaten the Patriots. And I did a video on this and said, I understand those are 2 wins that aren't necessarily, whoa, you beat them. But, like, 4-4 is in the hunt. 2-6 is you really shouldn't lose another football game if you want any hope at making the playoffs. You have 1 game at best you could lose. Like, the Jets.
2-6?
They're the Jets?
Yeah, 2-6, right?
Yeah. And just looking at them, it's like, yeah, you could drop 1 more game at most. 9-7. 9-7. 9-8's not making the playoffs. It's just not. Like, let's be real. Not in the AFC. It's not happening. And essentially, you're in a situation where the Jets have to go out there and they have to win every game. For some reason, this feels like one of those weird games that they'd win just because they don't really have business winning this game. Like, also having a kicker who should be able to hit extra points could help.
We'll see. But, Tris, this Jets team, it feels like they're going to win against the Texans because they have no business doing it. And we're going to get a little bit of hope, and that hope is going to grow when we beat the Cardinals. And then we'll be like, wait, we're back. And all we have to beat is Joe Flacco and the Colts, and then we're probably going to get crushed on Sunday Night Football. That's probably what's going to happen.
Honestly. Dude, Joe Flacco's been nice. He's been good.
I mean, they have a great offensive coach and a pretty solid offensive line, and sometimes we see Sam Darnold. Sometimes all that matters is that coach. So that's why
they have the GOAT. They have Quentin Nelson.
I was wondering if that's who you were talking about.
They have the GOAT, dude. Dude, I would, if I were the Jets, I know you said this years ago, I'm still willing to trade a very high pick for Quentin Nelson if they were able to. I'm not lying. I'd love that. To this day.
Yeah, I mean, he's a beast. He's a beast. We definitely could use. We could use all the help we can get at offensive line.
Especially if Aaron's sticking around next year. He's clearly not loving the fact that he's a not very big 40-year-old man getting absolutely hit by human freight trains constantly. Like, it's an interesting. Obviously, the Colts probably would not trade him, but it's just an interesting thing to talk about for a second.
Yeah. But, yeah, also interesting if Aaron Rodgers is coming back this year, because you have to imagine he doesn't want to see his career end on a year like this.
Yeah.
But he has to look at himself and maybe go on another ayahuasca retreat, and he has to ask himself, if I come back, does it look better than it looked this year? And I'm sure it looks a little bit better, but three wins at this point or 4 wins at this point, what we could have next year, is that still the year that he wants to go out on? Because we've talked about the statistics are fine, but you watch the game, he's not passing the eye test anymore. He's not the old Aaron Rodgers. The delay games are out of control. So he needs to play better, and he might not be playing well because he just doesn't have it anymore. And if that's the case, he needs to make a decision whether he's going to come back or not. And honestly, Chris, I think it would be an interesting situation if the Jets did end up taking a quarterback next year and having Aaron Rodgers stick around for 1 more year and try to have that quarterback sit and watch. And everyone talking about Jordan Travis for the Jets and why we don't talk about him in our videos, because he's still recovering from a broken leg that he suffered late in the season at Florida State. He hasn't taken a single practice. So, of course, the Jets, he's on their minds, but he needs to get in, and he needs at least 2 weeks of practice against NFL teams before he can play in an NFL game. And other than that, they're just, even 2 weeks of practices, they're just going to be throwing him to the wolves probably, and he's not going to make it. And if you want to say next year we want to give Jordan Travis the entire year to see if he can be the quarterback, that has lost year written all over it. You see what the Las Vegas Raiders are doing with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. That's not going to win. 4th round pick, successful quarterback since 2001 or 2005. I think it was 2005 actually. Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins. Ends of list. So Jordan Travis, probably not the exception. Is he? Maybe. But if you want to go chase exceptions, that's how you go broke.
Especially the Jets have done that long enough. Like, they've done all the strangest things and it's not working. I mean, look, tonight's the final night they can get back on track with this season. We've said it for a few weeks, it lives and dies here, but actually this week it literally lives and dies here. Like, and it's not because, like, oh, I'm so optimistic. I think they can get 10 wins on the season. No, it's more about the fact that, like, literally then you
The math doesn't work anymore. The math doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, the math will no longer math. You would have to win every game to get 10 wins, and that's not going to happen. So
yeah, dude, it's frustrating to see everyone saying, oh, just if we can go, you know, they're saying, like, we only lose 2 games or 1 game from here on out. Like, a couple weeks ago, it was 3 games. And I'm just saying, when you watch the Jets, what part of you makes you think they can win 10 games and only lose 2 or 3? Like, why would you ever think that? They're not a good team. Yeah, they're not a good team.
Yeah, it's wishful thinking because it's all we've been able to do as Jets fans for the last 15 or so years. I know it's not exactly that many, but nearly is. And look, if you ask me, I do think the Jets are going to win this game just because it makes no sense. So they'll absolutely win this game. Maybe Aaron Rodgers will show that he's the Aaron Rodgers of old. Maybe somehow 8 weeks in, he's still rusty. Who knows? But I have nothing to do but believe in Mr. Ayahuasca himself. So, Aaron, get it done, please, as the green screen picks up the green in this Jets jersey. And, guys, I mean, let us know what you think down below with this, man. Do the Jets have any hope? I don't think so, but you never know.
I hope they do.
I hope there's hope. You can only hope for hope. Guys, have a great day and go Jets.